The fluorescent lights of Philadelphia International Airport flickered overhead as I checked my boarding pass for the third time. November 2021. Las Vegas. Another jiu-jitsu tournament on my endless circuit across the country. Usually, I'd crash with teammates, splitting costs and swapping stories about matches and techniques until the early hours. This time was different. Scheduling conflicts, last-minute changes, the usual chaos that comes with competitive fighting. I was on my own. I booked the Airbnb 3 days before departure. It was cheap, close to the strip, and available. The listing showed a modest studio apartment with decent reviews and a profile picture of a purple flower where the host's face should have been. Red flag number 1, though I didn't recognize it at the time. The name on the account was Meidel. No last name, no personal details, just that single word and the flower. The neighborhood revealed itself slowly as my rental car wound through increasingly run-down streets. Barred windows. Graffiti tags layered 3 deep on concrete walls. A shopping cart overturned in a vacant lot. This wasn't the Vegas they showed in the commercials. I gripped the steering wheel tighter and told myself it was fine. I wouldn't be spending much time there anyway. Train, compete, sleep, leave. Simple. The studio sat attached to a larger house, sharing a wall but with its own entrance. A single door, painted an exhausted shade of beige, separated the room from the outside world. No host appeared to greet me. The lockbox instructions came via text. The code was 123 for 567. I stared at my phone screen. 7 ones in sequence. Who uses 123 for 567 as a security code? But I punched it in anyway, and the lock clicked open with surprising ease. Inside, the studio was exactly as advertised and somehow worse. A double bed dominated the cramped space, pushed against the wall beneath a window covered by heavy drapes that looked like they hadn't been washed since the 90s. A small table. A mini-fridge humming in the corner. A bathroom so tight I could touch both walls simultaneously. The Wi-Fi password, taped to the fridge in smudged handwriting, read simply, "Password." I laughed despite myself. Meidel was clearly an older person, someone who'd never bothered learning basic internet security. I unpacked my tournament gear, set 3 alarms on my phone, and tried to settle in. The mattress sagged in the middle. Through the shared wall, I could hear muffled television sounds, voices I couldn't quite make out. Normal sounds. Comforting, even. By 9:30, exhaustion had caught up with me. 3 time zones in one day will do that. I'd brushed my teeth, set out my GI for the morning, and was just beginning to drift off when I heard it. Tap. 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 3 deliberate knocks on the window directly in front of my bed. The window with the heavy drapes. I froze, every muscle in my body suddenly alert. Who knocks on someone's window at 9:30 at night? Who even knows someone's in there? Who? I called out, trying to sound unconcerned, though my heart was already hammering against my ribs. Silence. The kind of silence that feels like it's waiting. I stared at the drapes, half expecting them to move, to see a shadow or a silhouette. Nothing. Just the faint hum of the mini-fridge and my own breathing, too loud in the small space. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe something fell outside. A branch. A cat. Vegas winds doing strange things. Then it came again. Tap. 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 Same rhythm. Same window. Definitely not my imagination. Hello? I said louder this time, sitting up fully. Who is that? The tapping stopped. I waited, counting seconds, straining to hear footsteps moving away. Anything that would indicate whoever was out there had left. But there was nothing except that same heavy silence. I grabbed my phone and opened the Airbnb app with shaking fingers. The message I typed to Meidel was probably too polite given the circumstances. "Hi, was that you tapping on my window just now?" It startled me. "Is everything okay?" The message showed as delivered. Then read. But no response came. 10 minutes passed. 20. 30. I couldn't relax. Every small sound outside made me jump. A car passing. Wind rattling something metal. Voices in the distance. I kept thinking about that window, about how thin the drapes were, about how someone could be standing right there watching my shadow move around the room. Finally, after nearly an hour, my phone buzzed. Meidel's response was brief. I was going to bring you some water, but it seemed like you were asleep, so I left. Water. At 9:30 at night. Through the window instead of the door. I read the message 3 times, trying to make it make sense. It didn't. Nothing about this situation made sense. But what could I do? Call the police and say someone offered me water? I was probably overreacting. Jet lag and unfamiliar surroundings playing tricks on my nervous system. I considered my options. I could go for a walk to burn off the adrenaline. There was a convenience store a few blocks away I'd passed on the drive in. Or I could take a shower, let hot water ease the tension from my shoulders. But something deeper than logic, some primal instinct I'd learned to trust through years of combat sports, told me to stay put. Keep the door locked. Stay alert. Wait. So I waited. I turned off the lights and sat on the bed with my back against the wall, phone in hand, watching the door. The television sounds through the shared wall had stopped. The house next door was completely silent now. Too silent. In Vegas, even this far from the strip, there should be noise. Traffic. People. Something. 45 minutes crawled by. It was just past midnight when I heard movement outside. Not trying to be quiet movement. Purposeful footsteps approaching the door. My entire body tensed. This was it. Whatever this was, it was happening now. The electronic beep of the keypad being pressed. Once. Twice. A pause. Then again. Someone was entering the code. Someone who knew the code was 123 for 567. The lock disengaged with a mechanical click that sounded impossibly loud in the darkness. The door began to open inward. I don't remember making the conscious decision to move. Training took over. I threw myself across the room as the door swung toward me and slammed my full weight against it. It connected with something solid on the other side. A person. Someone who hadn't expected resistance. This is my room. I shouted, pressing my shoulder against the door with everything I had. Get out of here. Leave. The door pushed back. Not hard, but steady. Testing my strength. A voice came from the other side, deep and calm in a way that made my blood run cold. This is my room. Meidel? The name on the Airbnb account. But the voice was wrong. Too deep. Too masculine for the elderly woman I'd imagined. Get the fuck away from this door. I screamed, no longer caring about being polite or rational. I'm calling the police right now. I fumbled with my phone, somehow managing to dial 911 while still bracing the door. The pressure from the other side suddenly released. Footsteps retreated. I didn't move, didn't breathe, phone pressed to my ear as the operator answered. The story tumbled out of me in fragments. Airbnb. Someone tried to enter. The host maybe? No, I don't know. Please send someone. Please. The dispatcher's voice was professionally calm, taking down the address, asking me to confirm I was safe, that the door was locked, that I was alone now. She told me officers were on the way. She told me to stay on the line. I stayed on the line. When I heard sirens approaching, I finally let myself slide down the door to sit on the floor. My legs were shaking. My shoulder ached where I'd thrown it against the wood. The operator told me the officers were outside, that I could end the call, that I was safe now. I opened the door to find 2 LVPD officers, both looking utterly unsurprised by my story. The older one, with grey at his temples and tired eyes that had seen everything, actually sighed when I finished explaining. "Yeah," he said. "We get calls from this address pretty regularly." The host appeared then. Mydal? Not an elderly woman at all, but a man in his 40s with uncombed hair and an expression that cycled rapidly between anger and confusion. His story kept changing. First, he said he'd heard noises and came to check on me. Then it was his brother who needed to get something from the room. Then it was his nephew. Each version contradicted the last. The officers weren't having it. They asked if I wanted to press charges. I said I just wanted to leave. They offered to wait while I called an Uber. I threw my belongings into my bag without bothering to fold anything, keeping one eye on the door the entire time. Mydal stood outside arguing with the younger officer, his voice rising and falling in waves of indignation. Through it all, he never once apologized. Never once acknowledged that entering someone's rented room at midnight was wrong. The Uber pulled up 14 minutes later. Longest 14 minutes of my life. The officers walked me to the car, one of them saying something about filing a report, but I wasn't really listening. I was watching Mydal, still standing by the door to my former room, watching me leave with an expression I couldn't read and didn't want to understand. As the Uber pulled away, I finally let myself exhale. The driver asked if I was okay. I said I was fine. We both knew I was lying. I never did make it to that tournament. By the time I got checked into a hotel near the airport, it was 2 in the morning, and I couldn't stop shaking. I booked a flight home for the next available departure and sat in a hotel lobby until sunrise, too wired to sleep, too shaken to be alone in a room with a door. It still bothers me that I never saw the person who tried to enter my room. The voice was Mydal's, or at least someone claiming to be Mydal, but I only saw him after the police arrived. Was it really him at the door? His brother? His nephew? Someone else entirely? And those taps on the window at 9:30, were they testing to see if I was really asleep? Checking which side of the bed I was on? I think about the timing a lot. I'd flown in from the East Coast. 9:30 Vegas time was 12:30 for my body clock. The midnight intrusion would have been 3 a.m. my time, the deepest part of sleep for most people. If someone knew I was traveling from 3 time zones away, they'd know I'd be fighting jet lag, possibly taking sleeping pills, probably dead to the world in those early hours. Maybe it was just a confused host making a stupid mistake. Maybe. But the way those officers reacted, the way they said they got calls from that address regularly, the way Mydal's story kept changing, none of that adds up to a simple misunderstanding. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd taken that shower or gone for that walk when I first felt uneasy. If I'd been in the bathroom when someone entered the room. If I'd left the door unlocked while I was at the store. Would it have been a robbery? Would I have come back to find my passport, money, and electronics gone? Or would it have been worse? Would I have surprised someone in the act, someone who might have panicked and gotten violent? I don't know. I never will. All I know is that something in my gut told me to stay put that night, to stay alert, to trust my instincts even when they seemed paranoid. And those instincts probably saved me from whatever was supposed to happen in that little studio apartment with the 123 for 567 lock code and the Wi-Fi password that was just password. I've stayed in probably 50 Airbnbs since then. I always check the reviews now, every single one, looking for keywords like uncomfortable or weird or host entered without permission. I never book places with flower profile pictures. And I always change the door code as soon as I check in. Some people call it paranoia. I call it learning from experience. And I never, ever want to hear someone tapping on my window at night again.